we're breaking down the Commanders' Week 6 matchup versus the Atlanta Falcons here on the Commanders Report. But before we get into today's action, keys to victory, score prediction, all that great stuff, go ahead, do me a favor right now and click that subscribe button. That's right, Coop and I, we are going to be going live this weekend on Sunday for this week's matchup. So if you want to join us for our live watch party, we go crazy for these watch parties. You guys would know that if you tuned into last week's watch party versus the Chicago Bears. If you want to have a good time with us this Sunday and kick it with your fellow Commanders fans, do me a favor, click that subscribe button right now. Now let's get into this Week 6 matchup. Your Washington Commanders are sitting at 2-3, 3 straight losses for these Commanders, but they get a little bit of a soft spot here on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be an easy week this week. You know, you got the Atlanta Falcons. They're 3-2 right now. They've shown that they can win some football games. They're coming off a big-time victory. And you take a look at their profile here. They're 3-2 under head coach Arthur Smith this season. Offensive scheme, they run a second-generation West Coast offense. So you're going to see a lot of outside zone. You're going to see a lot of play-action drift concepts where the quarterback is going to go play action, pull it, and there's going to be an in route right over the linebackers who sink because of the run. You're going to see a ton of that stuff. So think Mike Shanahan, think Gary Kubiak, think of kind of the older school, Jay Gruden, John Gruden, that kind of stuff there. Second generation West Coast, not quite as modern as some of the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay type of West Coast offenses that we see in the league, but Arthur Smith is one of the best in the league still running the older school version of this West Coast offense. Then on defense, brand new defensive coordinator here in Atlanta, runs an attacking 4-3 system, very similar to what the New Orleans Saints have run forever with Dennis Allen. Lots of zone blitzes, lots of man coverage, lots of press, lots of blitzes there. So you're going to see a lot of pressure from these Atlanta Falcons. They've actually done a pretty decent job on defense so far this year, so you better watch out. You take a look at their scorecard throughout the first 5 weeks of the season here. You start off with 2 pretty easy victories. I think the Carolina Panthers are one of the 3 worst teams in the National Football League. You beat them by 14 at home. You get another home matchup against the Packers, who just lost to the freaking Las Vegas Raiders last night. You only beat them by 1 point. Take 2 straight losses to 2 good teams. Pretty embarrassing losses, too, if I must say, with the Detroit Lions, 20-6 on the road. Then at home, the Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely destroyed them in London, actually, 23-7. And then, of course, in Week 5 last week, a little bit more of a bounce back. They had a walk-off field goal from Younghoe Koo, their kicker, 21-19 final score versus kind of the surprising Houston Texans to this point. So let's take a look at some of the splits here between the Commanders' offense and the Falcons' defense. This is the matchup that we'll be expecting. About 22 points per game for the Commanders, about 20 points given up for the Falcons. So expect 20 to 21 points for the Commanders' offense this week if you believe the stat line projections. And then some other numbers that stick out to me. 61% red zone touchdown percentage for the Commanders is actually pretty darn high. That's top 10 in the National Football League, and the turnovers definitely need to be subdued. 10 turnovers through the first 5 weeks. That needs to go down. You need to protect the football this week. Let's take a look at the other matchup here between the Falcons offense, led by quarterback Desmond Ridder, and the Commanders defense, which has really struggled here through the first 5 weeks, right? 32 points per game allowed. They've allowed 4 straight games, given up 33 or more points. They need to figure this out, man. Jack Del Rio, I don't know what he has to do, but something's got to change here. It's not been good enough whatsoever. Good news for the Commanders, though. The Falcons have only scored 16.6 points per game to this point. Desmond Ridder has struggled, although he did look better last week. Hopefully the Commanders can get things going on the defensive side of the ball and get some confidence going. If you believe the stat line projections here between these two teams, they would tell you that the Falcons will likely win this football game 24-20. Now, I'm going to give you my official score prediction at the end of today's show, so make sure you guys stick around. But also, in just a second here, I'm going to tell you the 4 things the Washington Commanders absolutely need to do this week in order to beat the Atlanta Falcons and improve to 3-3. And then, of course, my Week 6 score prediction is coming up here in just a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor here at BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code CHAT125 to take advantage of an awesome deal that they have for you guys right now, man. A 125% deposit bonus on deposits of $100 to $600. Now, what does that mean exactly? That means if you put a deposit of $100, for example, on the BetUS website, they're going to give you 125% of that money, $125 additional dollars for a $100 investment, a $225 value for just a $100 investment. I think that's a pretty darn good deal. If you want to spice things up this NFL season with some sports betting, go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code CHAT125 to take advantage of that deposit bonus today. First key to victory for your Washington Commanders this week is you got to make Desmond Ridder beat you. Now, in my opinion, if I were to rank every single quarterback in the National Football League right now, I think Desmond Ridder might be at the very bottom of the list among NFL starters. Take a look at my scouting report this week on Ridder. The mental processing's okay. He can do some good stuff there pre and even post-snap. The long speed is good. He had a really good 40 time at the Combine when he went into the draft in 2022. And then the size is legitimate. 6'3", 207 pounds with athleticism. He's got some tools, but overall the cons, he's always been an inaccurate quarterback that's really shown its ugly head this season. The pocket presence, if there's any sort of pressure, he doesn't know how to move and maneuver in the pocket. That's really going to be detrimental to his game. And then although he's got the long speed to really take it to the house even, if he gets a straight line, an open straight line, he's not very quick in the short area. He's not able to juke. He's not able to make guys miss or anything like that. So he's not an overall great runner of the football either. And then overall the arm talent's not great. So in my opinion, I actually think that he's a backup level quarterback, all right? I thought last week he played pretty decent, but to me, he's a mid-level backup quarterback that can pull a decent game out of his butt every once in a while, and that's exactly what he did last week versus the Houston Texans. Arguably the best game of his NFL career, over 75% completions, 329 yards, a touchdown, and a very high QBR there of 81.4. It was definitely the best game of his young career as an NFL starter, so he's going to be feeling pretty confident going into this game, especially against the Commanders' defense that has been struggling. But overall, this season has not been good for Ridder. This is an excellent opportunity for this Commanders' defense to hold him short. And then a big way that they're going to be able to do that is that you got to load the box. It was the same thing with the Chicago Bears last week, guys. You got to put Cam Curl, the strong safety, in the box, loaded up with 8 guys. Make sure that Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, those guys don't beat you, all right? You can't let this Falcons run game run all over. You got to put bodies in the middle. You got to put bodies at the line of scrimmage, and you got to make sure that Desmond Ridder throws the ball outside and beats you with his arm. You cannot let Bijan Robinson, who in my opinion is going to be the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL this year. He's absolutely a fantastic talent. I think he's the closest thing we've seen to Christian McCaffrey in the last couple NFL drafts. He's already, in my opinion, a top 5 NFL running back. So you're going to have to contain him. Tyler Algier is one of the best number 2 options in the NFL. And then Cordell Patterson, I mean, we know what he can do as well as a power back. So they've got a lot of great stuff in terms of their run game. They've got multiple different types of backs. They like to do a bunch of different things, and they really like to rely on the run game. You got to make sure, though, that Desmond Ridder is the one to beat you. You got to keep this run game in check. Now, before I give you my final 2 keys to victory here for the Washington Commanders, do me a favor. If you want to help our channel grow, if you want to do your part to help us grow the Commanders Report here at Chat Sports, do me a favor right now. Click that thumbs up icon and show your support down there in the comments. All right, now let's go to the next key to victory here, which is to take away Drake London. And you look at the receiving weapons here for the Atlanta Falcons. They just traded for Van Jefferson today, actually, so you might have to bottle him up a little bit. But listen, Drake London, I don't want to hear about Kyle Pitts. I don't want to hear about any of that. Drake London is the best receiving threat on this Atlanta Falcons team. I think you got to put Kendall Fuller on him. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if they play Emmanuel Forbes this week after a couple of tough weeks. But there's always one player. There's always one receiver or one receiving threat on every team in the National Football League that you say, we can't let this guy beat us this week. And for the Atlanta Falcons, that's Drake London, man. He's a great route runner. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's no Tyreek Hill, but he's got that big frame. He can catch balls outside of his frame. He's got a great catch radius. He can make contested catches. He's one of the better young wide receivers in the league today, and Desmond Ridder loves to go to him. So Emmanuel Forbes, Kendall Fuller, Benjamin St-Juste, whoever's on this guy needs to do a good job and make sure he doesn't get the football this week. Then the final key to victory, now we shift to the offense. We've talked the first 3 is about the defense. This one's about the offense, and I say attack down the field. Throw the ball down the field, because this is going to be an opportunity for Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell to really attack deep down the field. And that's really how you have to beat this Atlanta Falcons team. You take a look at the front five here for the Atlanta Falcons, the starting front five. I mean, right now, their edge rushers, their edge pressure group is not fantastic. Arnold Ebiketie, he's fine, but he's no number one. And same thing with Bud Dupree, who's more of a rotational guy, in my opinion. Now, on the interior, Calais Campbell, Onyemata, and Grady Jarrett, those guys might be a little bit of an issue for Nick Gates and Sadiq Charles up the middle. But overall, I think that Sam Howell's going to have quite a bit of time, or at least he should, in this football game. And when he does, he is going to have to beat this Falcons secondary, which is actually really, really nice in my opinion. They've got depth, they've got talent. They're one of the highest graded groups in the National Football League through the first 5 weeks, according to Pro Football Focus. And the Commanders' wide receivers, they need the ball out here, because you're going up against A.J. Terrell, one of the best press man corners in football. You're going up against Jeff Okudah, a former top 5 pick that's finally starting to show his worth as an NFL corner. But man, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, and De'Ami Brown, I believe in this unit to get open down the field, and I believe in the quarterback Sam Howell here to really target his guys down the field effectively in this football game. You got to hit some of these deep shots if you are going to score against this Atlanta Falcons team. They've got an excellent secondary. They've also got one of the best free safeties in football in Jesse Bates, who they just signed this free agency period. So listen, it's not going to be a cakewalk, right? There's going to be a little bit of pressure just because the offensive line here in Washington has not been good to this point. But you're going to have opportunities to throw the ball down the field. You got to win your one-on-one opportunities. And if you're Sam Howell, you got to deliver the football with some zip and with some confidence. This is a fantastic opportunity for Sam to continue to show us why he is the future franchise quarterback here in the nation's capital. Now, my official score prediction here. I'm going to pick the Commanders to win. All right, I think after 3 straight losses, I think that they are due. I think it's going to be a really close football game. It could go either way. I really like what the Falcons are doing this season. If they can get a legitimate quarterback, I think Arthur Smith might actually have something here. They've been very competitive to start this season. But give me the Commies to win this week. 23-20. I don't know if it's going to be a walk-off field goal. I don't know if it's going to be a touchdown on a game-winning drive. I just know I got the Commanders by 3 this week, and we're going to get back to 500. Now it's your turn. Let me know down there in the comments section. Predict the score of Commanders versus Falcons for me down there in the comments section. My score prediction, 23-20 Commanders. Let me know yours down there in the comments section. Also, if you want to see where we here at Chat Sports, all the hosts, have the Washington Commanders stacking up with the rest of the teams here in the NFL. After the first 5 weeks, our Week 6 NFL Power Rankings is now up on the Chat Sports main YouTube channel. So I'm going to put the link to that in the comments and description for whoever is interested in checking out that video today. And that'll be it for me today, guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button, because we're going to have more injury updates throughout the week, trade rumors when they come up, and then, of course, we got that watch party on Sunday afternoon. If you want to join us, make sure you click that subscribe button. And until next time, hail to the Commanders.